Many a times when we undergo difficult situations in our life, we are very much perplexed, not knowing what does it mean and why it happened to us. In other words, rationalizing suffering when we are living a life very closer to God is difficult than rationalizing suffering when we may not be living closer to God and our life may be worldly. Many times we have questions which begin with word why, and many a times it is very difficult to answer them, and in other times there is no answer to such questions. Because these questions of why originate from the daily life experience of suffering. And the questions are directed towards God with a cry that, Lord, no more. It's too much for me to bear. If at all possible, take away this cup from me, just like Christ prayed. But then when we look into Paul's life, we have a very beautiful situation when Paul is saying about his own experience in 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verses 1 to 10. Now when we come to 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verses 1 to 10, we know that Paul is saying in third person something about himself. The reason is that he doesn't want to take pride in the greater and deeper spiritual experiences that he has. So it used to be a practice among the Jewish rabbis that they will speak about their greater experience of God without saying that it is my greater spiritual experience. So in the same way, Paul also speaks it in third person, although it is his own life experience. But in these 10 verses when you read, we find that Paul is actually saying about a very great spiritual, mystical experience of Christ where he has heard something that a human is not supposed to hear. He has an experience of transcending human limits and going up into the heavenly realm to hear and see visions and hear things which no man must hear it. But when he says about those experiences, he says that it is wonderful and I can take pride upon that. But then one thing that pricks me always and causes me to cry before God, saying that please take away this pain from my life, is what he terms as a thorn in the flesh. Now when we read this passage, we understand this thorn in the flesh is actually a reference to some sort of problem that Paul is experiencing. Most probably it is referring to a physical ailment. Although reading the word expression, the messenger of Satan, immediately after saying thorn in the flesh, when he says about messenger of Satan, when he says, some have understood it as referring to some sort of evil forces bothering him. But the chances of that sort of an understanding to be right is very low. Most probably it is referring to either some sort of physical infirmity or disability that Paul suffered, or some sort of physical illness that he was experiencing in his life, which he doesn't verbalize very clearly, but that was actually tormenting him. That is the word he uses. This thorn in the flesh has been tormenting him all through his life. And he says, 3 times I have prayed, I have pleaded to the Lord, take away it from me. But always the answer came to him is, my grace is sufficient for you. Paul never liked suffering, perhaps. Suffering for the sake of Christ, what we call as apostolic suffering, was fine for him, because that guaranteed him that he is suffering for Christ, and by his suffering the gospel is advanced to the places where it has not reached until now. But his physical ailment and sickness has always been a riddle. He never wanted to suffer physically, probably, and that is why he's saying that I pleaded 3 times. Probably these 3 times refers to 3 major occasions when he felt so tormented by this physical illness or the disability that he suffered that he has no other words to say to the Lord than saying that please take away this thorn. But he says it is given to me. So he sees that there is a purpose in this givenness. When this illness is given into his body, which torments him, he says, that makes me very weak. But when this ailment is becoming so strong in his life, discouraging him sometimes, he feels that it is given with a purpose. And the words of the Lord saying, my grace is sufficient for you, is ensuring him that this is not an accident. It might seem like this illness has come as part of your natural existence. But then this illness, this time, has got a purpose in your life. And that purpose, when Paul understands, he is satisfied. He is willing to bear it more. In fact, he is ready to boast upon that weakness. And what is that purpose? He says in verse 7, he says, or because of these surpassing great revelations, therefore in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. The experience is very agonizing, very disturbing. Something that is disliked is actually persisting in his life. But then the purpose, he understands that it is to keep him away from conceit. That he doesn't take pride upon his spiritual experiences so much that he forgets the grace of God. He forgets his human limitations. The way that the Lord has been using him to mightily work in this world, to preach the gospel and to stand before the kings and then to preach the word convincingly and win many who opposed Christ for the sake of Christ, must not yield pride in his life. So Paul says, when I have such a great spiritual experience of hearing something that is spoken in the heavenly world, and no man must hear that, in the vision when I hear those things, it is counterbalanced by my physical ailment. Flesh, in other words, is the place where the blessings of the spiritual life is actually battled out. Flesh becomes the place where the spiritual blessings that we are to receive, the intensity of that or the benefit of that is actually battled out here in our personal life. These are those personal experiences which only we undergo personally in our life. No human being can understand. When illness strikes us, when financial struggles strike us, when deception by someone strikes us, and it causes deep harm, emotional hurts in us, and we have questions which no other person can give answer to that, we realize one thing, that God has a purpose. And that purpose is, for Paul, that he doesn't become conceited. Pride goes before fall. Even in spiritual life, pride goes before fall. Corinthians probably needed this lesson very much, as they were spirit-filled Christians and filled with the gifts of the Holy Spirit. But then some thought that other person is not needed. Some people, those who are gifted by some other gifts, are not required. They are more spiritual than somebody else. That pride, when it comes into their life, Paul's life in weakness, yet having great spiritual experiences, becomes a lesson that humility and hatred towards nurturing conceit in our life must become the hallmark of Christian life. And sufferings play important role in that. when pain hits us very bad, and when we realize that this is beyond my capacity to handle it, to respond to it, it is at that moment one great thing becomes clear to us, that we live by the grace of God. His grace is sufficient. When suffering is in his life, which is tormenting him, and he, out of his dislike, he calls it a messenger of Satan, such a very derogatory expression, or such a negative expression he uses to define his illness. Even at that moment, he realizes the positive dimension of that is that God has a purpose, that he doesn't become so proud. But at the same time, when that is a deterrent to nurture a right attitude in his spiritual life, Paul also realizes one thing, that the Lord provides grace sufficiently. The grace is provided so much that it is sufficient for him to face the challenge. Friends, many times challenges that we face in our life, death happens in the family, sicknesses come into the life of the spouse or of the children and disturbs the entire family life, is not always because of bad reasons, but it is because the Lord wants to manifest that even amidst all these struggles, my grace is abundantly available for you. The grace is given out so that it may perfect. That's what the words of the Lord is. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. In your disability, in your illness, in your physical challenges, in your emotional struggles, in all your limitations that you experience in your life, that makes you to think that I am not good enough, I cannot do anything, or I have so many why questions which nobody can answer. And when bitterness has a chance to flourish in your heart and make your soul bitter towards God, the Lord's ensuring words that my grace is sufficient for you tells that this weak point is an instrument in God's hand to make his power perfect, to let the glorious work of Christ, God himself, may be manifest in your life fully, maturely, that God's purpose is fulfilled through your life. Once that work of God becomes manifest in your life and achieves its goal, both in your personal life, to restrain you from being conceited, and also to tell others that pain in life is not always negative, but it has a purpose from God, and encourage others, God makes by that his power manifest and perfect in your and my weaknesses. Paul knew it. Paul was such a great apostle, but suffered so much in his life, and that suffering taught him that God's grace sustains him each day. Sometimes illnesses are necessary. Sometimes financial crunches are necessary to understand how much God cared for us, how much he had provided. And when we have situations when things seem to go out of our grip, it tells us that for tomorrow, God's grace is abundantly available to each one of us. Then he says, therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. Weakness may be disliked only when the purpose of God through that suffering is not understood. But once God's purpose is understood, this suffering can be something that is nurtured in life. This is not about becoming sadist in life, that you become someone who craves after suffering and pain in life. No, that is not the idea that Paul is saying. Paul is saying, but when I want to live a healthy life, yet illness come into my life, and that torments me very badly, I need to look up to God. understand why it is from God's perspective and recognize that this is the weak point when God is perfecting His work in my life. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, and I want to leave it with you this day. That may the Lord help us, that like Paul we would be able to say that when I am weak, I delight in Christ, because in hardship, in persecution, in difficulties, for when I am weak, then I am strong. When you are strong humanly, you are actually weak. But when you are weak humanly and you have the grace of God available to you to face the difficulties of life, you are the strongest person. May the Lord help us that today, as we live in this world, difficult situations may tell us that these weak moments are only to make us strong and face tomorrow's challenge with much more boldness. May the Lord bless us through these words.